Hey, how are you?
How's it going?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I feel like I'm getting a little bit better.
You sound better. You
Uh,
do.
yeah, a little bit after missing a doctor's appointment.
Oh, I saw that. Don't feel bad. It's happened to me.
Oh, I was mad. Wow. Wow, I was
Oh,
mad.
what a bad. Did they charge you? Do they charge you if you don't show up?
No, because I rescheduled immediately.
I did the same thing, not the same thing with the doctor's appointment, but I booked myself all week. My sister's talking about making the plane reservations for this wedding I'm going to in New Jersey in
Right.
February. And February 24th was the wedding, right? She must have said the date a million times. And I never realized that that was the date that I booked for a gig at the Kravis Center. And then I felt so badly. And I called the lady and I just told her the truth. I said I double booked, but I usually
It's
never
the
do
worst
that.
feeling, man. It makes you feel like all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, am I turning into my mom? Like what's happened? Then this morning, Gemma just wakes me up to say like I'm leaving or whatever. And I fall back to sleep. And then I hear text message dings and I'm like, what the hell? So I roll over and I look at my phone. It's like, your grocery order is on the way. And I'm like,
Oh.
grocery order? What? I go into the app.
Yeah,
I went in, I had it what I thought, what I thought was that it was scheduled for next Thursday. So
okay.
obviously I had picked the wrong day, didn't realize it. And so yeah, I got up like my hair was like, and I had to answer the door, looking like a million bucks. And I was like, oh God. And I thought to myself, like, please let this just be a January thing. You know,
Right, right.
like
It's
January
over.
feels like
Right.
Jan fucking everywhere. Okay, so let me just preface this. We have with us Dharma Kelleher, and she is an out trans author who
Mhm.
writes some gritty crime dramas with badass women lead characters. I'm loving it already.
Me
So
too.
let's let Dharma in and we'll have her explain the rest. Yay! Hey!
Hey, so sorry I was late. I got tied up with
No,
something.
no, don't worry. We were just catching up. Also,
Ah,
JD, I forgot to tell you just before I logged on to do this, I just finished the last episode of Daisy Jones and the Six.
Oh yeah? Is it
I
good?
I didn't expect to like it, and I really did. It was very good.
the music is really good.
Cool.
Music was good, casting was fantastic,
Oh
story
yeah.
was great, and um, I just love the way it bounced back and forth from kind of present to back in the 70s. It was
Oh
just
yeah.
really good,
Mm-hmm.
really good. So Dharma, welcome. I
Thank
had to get
you.
that out of
Thank
my
you
chest
so
right
much.
away. JD's a rock star, so I just wanted to tell you, I think you should see that. You should watch it. She doesn't just look like that for the show.
That.
Well, she looks like a rock star.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I try in my head.
Living the dream. So we found each other on Threads, and I
Yes.
was super thrilled that you reached out because what I love, like I read your bio.
Hmm.
What I love is like the first line is that you are openly out and proud trans author. And I was
Yep.
like, like that's the best first sentence of a bio ever, ever.
It usually kind of winnows out all the haters and everything. It's like, don't even have to deal with them anymore.
Yeah, and if you don't want to read any further, this is where you stop. And if not, go
Exactly.
ahead and continue. Yeah. So I just absolutely love that. Um, and I love the genre that you write in. I was just telling Jay. So what I'm hoping is that you can elaborate a little bit more on gritty crime drama. Yeah,
So,
'cause I love that kind of
sure.
stuff on TV.
Yes, very interesting genre category.
Yeah, I mean, I watch a lot of it on TV. And I read a lot of it. I mean, even when I was a teenager, I was reading like Lawrence Block and Sarah Paretsky and Sarah Graft or Sue Grafton. So yeah.
That's fantastic. So my first question it has to be, you must be able to plot a crime really well to write about it, right? Like my second book had a little bit of crime in it.
Hmm.
And I remember thinking, how do I make this work? Like, how do thieves and robbers and stuff like think this kind of stuff through? I was writing from the opposite, from the actual criminal's point of view.
Right, exactly.
So I was like, oh my God, this is hard. I don't know that I thought this through all the way. So yeah, I got stuck a couple of times, but I in my opinion, anybody that's gonna make a lead character, a badass butt kicking woman, bring it on.
Mhm.
So do you tell us like your process? Like what?
My process, well, I mean, I've got three different series. Two of them are ongoing, and it's kind of a challenge because the one series is from the point of view of a bounty hunter.
Oh,
So,
nice.
right. And that's always presents a challenge to me because like it's not like she's trying to find out who done it. We already know who done it. Now
Right.
she's
Yeah.
trying to go, okay, where did they go and how do I catch them and put them back in custody?
Yes. Yes.
And then how do I make it interesting? You know, it's not like, oh, they're at their house. Okay, bring them home. I bring them to jail. And so I play around with ideas. I try to come up with some interesting. The first book in my Jinx Blue series was very loosely inspired by the Gypsy Rose Blanchard story. I don't know if you're
Oh,
familiar with that.
timely, timely.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I wrote it, I guess, a few years after she went to prison,
Yeah.
and I was just so moved by her story. I mean, I felt like she shouldn't have been sent to prison because she'd been abused by her mother all her life.
Right. Her mentally.
Exactly. And so I wondered, well, what would happen if she didn't show up to her court hearing, if she just disappeared, and everyone's still under the impression she's this physically and mentally handicapped little girl. I mean, how could she have just disappeared? And so I just kind of play around with ideas like, okay, where could she be? Who could have taken her? And what red herrings can I throw in the mix, you know?
Yes. Yeah. How do I
And
keep
it's
it
just a lot of
interesting?
fun, you know. It's just like, okay, I did a lot of research as far as bounty hunters and how they operate and everything, what the laws are, and in Arizona they operate legally, and it's just kind of fun to play around with ideas. And of course, then I have to figure out, okay, I got to deal with all the plot holes that come up naturally.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, how do I plug these up? Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly, exactly. How do I make this make sense? Because it doesn't, you know, in real life things don't have to make sense, but in fiction they do.
Yeah. And the thing of it is, it's like when you have that reader base, they'll call you out on it.
Oh, and they will. They have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
So
had
I was
readers
going to
say,
ask
"Well,
you
how
that.
did?" Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You have I mean, you're obviously you're growing your fan base.
I
Um,
am.
you have a series, and is that ongoing now, or you've completed one
Yeah,
series?
I wrote a four book lesbian outlaw biker series. So think Sons of Anarchy, but lesbians.
Oh,
And then I've got I'm about to start the sixth book in my bounty hunter series, and then I'm going to be launching the third book in my goth vigilante series.
oh my
Oh,
God.
So yeah, this is about a young gal. She's a tattoo artist. She's goth, and she's trans, and she's a vigilante.
That's fantastic.
Someone hurt someone she cares about, and the police don't do anything about it. She takes action.
Oh my
ah,
God. I feel like these could be Netflix series.
yeah.
I would love to see them as Netflix series.
Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the lesbian Sons of Anarchy.
The
What's the name of this series?
name of the series is the Shay Stevens Outlaw Biker series.
Love it. Love
I
it.
was at the time I was a biker. I quit riding a few years ago, but I was a biker. I was a member of a all women's motorcycle club. Well, motorcycle group. We weren't officially an MC,
Uh-huh.
and I liked the Sons of Anarchy, but like all the women were just like the old ladies and riding on the bitch
Yeah,
seat and all that
the
stuff.
afterthought.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
a member
Yeah.
of a women's biker club, and
Right? Yeah,
so
that's
that's when I started writing that.
that is it's so fun. Like, has your is it your personal journey? Do you find like worked into these
Oh,
books?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm always minding my real life for little tidbits and things like that. So, my wife recently bought herself a switchblade, which are legal in Arizona. I know. I'm like, you bought yourself a switchblade? How can... She said, and she'll sit in her chair and she's just doing that. She got me one too. So she sits in her chair and she's just sitting there, she's watching TV and she's going, I'm like, should I be worried?
I was going to ask
It's like
you.
a fidget spinner.
Yeah. Is she happy? Is she
She's
happy?
very happy.
Okay.
She's very happy. We're very much in love. We've been
Oh,
married 25 years and we're very much in love.
oh, that's fantastic.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that is
Don't hear that very often.
yeah, and how supportive, right? Because I
Hmm.
know
Oh yeah.
what it's like
Yeah,
when you're the
she's been very
creative.
supportive of my author career.
Yeah, when you're the creative one, I mean, I would go through waves of feeling guilty because I
Oh
wasn't,
yeah.
contributing the same amount
Hmm.
and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. And it was just, you know, it, I just feel so fortunate, that my wife's like, do whatever you want, do whatever
My
you want.
wife is the
Do my
same
laundry,
way.
as long as my laundry gets done, do whatever you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I went to 20 Books Vegas last November at the behest of my wife. She said, "No, you should go." I'm like, "But I'd have to leave you for 5 days." She said, "No, you should go." I'm like, "Okay."
Go.
Really nice.
No, please.
That is so important,
Oh, it
because
is.
as I'm a musician, not an author, but I, it's hard when you have a partner that isn't 100%
Oh, yeah.
supportive, and you always feel you're not paying enough attention to the other person. And
Hmm.
I've had relationships like that where
Yeah,
it
me
was
too.
really very difficult to focus on your art when you're feeling this guilt that you're not there
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
other person, and they make you
Hmm.
feel it like Denise, you said, Gemma says, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But I've in the past had people say, you don't pay enough attention to me. I might as well be a picture on the wall, and
Yeah.
No, yeah, they have to understand. I think a
well, they
lot of it
need
is
you when you're
understanding.
doing it, right? So, like, it's with the music, they don't realize before you get on the stage, it takes a lot of work to practice, and
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so
Rehearsals.
important to have that. And
And
20,
the other end of it too is that you do your own songwriting, you know. So
yes,
there is
yeah,
like, I just need a minute, like I need to write stuff
need
down.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to have
Hmm.
your head cleared from
Oh
guilt.
yeah, it is.
You're writing about guilt, a song
Yeah.
about guilt.
You have
Hmm.
to, yeah, you got to find the right person. It's a
Yeah,
delicate balance,
It
and it
is.
has to work in order for you to stay unclogged,
yes,
Hmm.
for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I always like have to have the conditions perfect, like for me to be able to sit down and get into it. But
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
like I remember there's an author over here, Claire Lydon.
Oh, yeah. I love her.
Okay, you know of her?
Oh, yeah.
So,
I met her in Vegas. Yeah.
oh, fantastic. So I
Yes.
have her doing a podcast on my feed, and I
Hmm.
always like admired her discipline.
Oh, yeah.
She had, like, such an interesting process, like would give herself that word goal, how many words
Hmm.
a day. Plus she self-publishes, and she was
Right.
doing my podcast and another one, and I'm like,
Hmm.
never in a million years. Like, seriously. Seriously, that is so much. And she's so
Wow.
disciplined. Yeah, it's amazing.
You have
Really,
to be
really.
disciplined, yeah.
I don't think I'm there yet.
Podcasts are a lot of work. I've tried to do a few of them, and I'm like, nope, too much work.
Yeah, nah. I mean, but thankfully, like we share the load, you know,
Hmm.
and that's super helpful. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not I don't the older I get, like I was just saying, I miss doctor's appointments, I missed grocery delivery dates. I don't
Yeah.
like I'm going through a scattered phase right now.
Same.
You just said I said I'm blaming it on January and
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand
All
behind that.
January's fault.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get it together in February and see if I can get back on track. But it's not easy. Like it's
Mm-mm.
just, like I have so much admiration for especially like people like you that are writing series. It's like I wrote literally two books. Like one was split in half, so
Hmm.
one and a part two, and then a third, and I did it all within 6 months. And then she
Hmm.
came back and was like, all smug, can't get it back again, can't get it back again. So
Hmm.
I don't know if it's
Wow.
going to come back because I just lack the discipline. Like I just
Yeah.
spent a day and a half watching Daisy Jones and the Six.
Like writer's block, Denise? You mean like that type of thing? Like
Nope,
not,
nope. I have it all laid out. I just can't find the discipline to sit down and start typing.
Hmm.
you know what? I've been going through that too. I have to answer a series of questions for an article they're doing about me in this magazine. And I haven't had the discipline to sit down and answer the questions because it's a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
questions.
brutal.
Oh
That's
yeah.
how they interview you for this magazine. They send you the questions and you answer it, you write them out, and then you
Hmm.
send it back to them and they write the stories. So they
Yeah,
come up with
yeah.
questions for you. But I wanted to ask you, how do you come up with your ideas for the characters, like as the main, like the Gypsy
I
Rose idea?
Yeah, I all over the place. My wife was the one that came up with the idea that she should be a bounty hunter because um, Penguin Random House had published my first two books in the biker series, and I wanted to write something with a trans main character since I'm trans. Whoops, sorry, my phone. Sorry about that. And I didn't want to write a police procedural because I read too many of those. I didn't want to write um, uh, the typical serial killer. I just wanted to write something unique. And my
Yeah.
wife came up with the idea of writing a bounty hunter. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I started doing research. But I
Very
come up with ideas from all over the place. I like a very diverse character cast. So I have non-binary characters. I've got characters of all racial backgrounds, and I've got I just try to have a variety of human experience reflected, and it it makes it for interesting, and it's great grist for creating backstories. Like, okay, I'm writing the sixth book in this series. I'm like, now where I'm going to take this, and whose backstory am I going to play around with,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so yeah, it just makes it interesting.
Do you ever worry about when you describe a non-binary person or a gender fluid person or a lesbian or just a queer
Mhm.
person, or
Uh-huh.
do you worry that it do you worry about like your wording and your descriptions
I
and
am very
because I think
mindful
people are
of it.
getting so, yeah, it's like walking through a minefield. um
Feel
I
like for me it didn't feel like a minefield, but it's about being aware of not causing harm,
Right.
not reinforcing negative stereotypes. I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to write a trans character in a thriller was because 70% of the time you see a trans character, they're a sex worker. Nothing wrong with sex workers, but we have a lot of different professions to choose from,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
or they're the murder victim, or worse, they're the serial killer.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm like, so I just, I wanted to push back against that stereotype. And when I write an intersex character, I wrote an intersex character, and I talked to a number of people who were intersex, and I had a few of them read through the sections where this character was mentioned and the whole thing, and I get feedback from them as a sensitivity reader, or as I preferred it, an expert reader, because they've got the experience that I'm trying to
Yes,
convey.
that's
Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah.
that is,
Right
So
to the
yeah,
source.
but
Right to
I'm very mindful anytime I'm writing a character that is outside of my experience in terms of racial background or religious background. The book that's coming out in June, I've got the girlfriend character is Jewish, and a good mutual friend of theirs is Palestinian American. And I explored this whole issue of the Hamas or Gaza war
yeah.
from both perspectives, because I wanted to present the common humanity. Because
Mhm.
yeah.
ultimately, I start with the humanity of a character.
Mhm.
Oh God, that's so well said, so well put, and so well
Yeah.
researched. Like that is exactly, I think, going to the source. You know,
Hmm.
it's how imperative. And you said if I heard right, you're in Arizona.
Yes.
So in my what I've never been there. I always I guess I wondered if the community is as diverse, or do you have to find it? You got to go
Well, I mean,
looking. It's not just
yeah. I
doors.
mean, as far as the queer community, I mean, I've not. So I moved here 30 years ago, and I'm not really an active part of the local queer community. I mean, there was a when we first got here, I there was a gay bookstore, and
Eh.
yay, it's gone now.
Oh,
Uh, we've had community centers pop up and then disappear.
Um, so when you get an idea for the main character, now you have to like come up with the other people around them. So
Right.
that's like, is it easier to come up with those other people when you get the main person
You know,
set?
it's always a challenge for every character because you want to play off. You don't want all the characters to be alike, so you want to give them their unique voice. The in the Jinx Blue Bounty Hunter series, her best friend is uh, a Latina woman who has chronic fatigue syndrome,
brilliant.
and she's kind of her hacker best friend, and I play off of that, and I use that to create drama. Like, okay, she's got a flare up, so maybe my bounty hunter character Jinx will like go do a grocery run for her, and I just showed the friendship, the
Yeah,
sisterhood there, and I try to play off of each character's what are their fears, what are their weaknesses, their strengths, and I just kind of play off of that to create the conflicts and the drama, but also the heartfelt moments as well.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
adorable. I love the fact that there's like that sisterhood that come because you
Right.
want like it's so relatable. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like it's so relatable. Like my wife and I were in London, and we live in a semi. So it's only our two homes that are attached, and
Right.
neighbor is like such a delightful guy, and we
Hmm.
just like look out for each other all the
It's
time.
great.
He was going through cancer. I was cooking like crazy
Hmm.
for him,
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's I think most people can relate, to that
Yes.
kind of,
Hmm.
bond that you create with your immediates.
Right.
You
Because I
know?
think when we see the humanity of a character that is unlike us,
Yeah.
then we realize, oh, well, maybe they're not so different from me after all.
Right. Yeah. That's
right.
that's the link, kind of the connection. And it's so important to have that. I mean, there are times I'm not a huge reader. I'm just gonna be upfront about that.
Yeah.
But I should have opened with that. No,
Okay.
but the thing
Not
is,
everyone.
I'm picky about what I read, and like the minute I lose interest and I put that book down, like I don't go back to it. And I realized the thing that most does that to me is that I'm not finding a connection,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
it's rough being that way. Like my wife will see a book through to the end, and she reads
Mm-hmm.
40 books a month. It's crazy.
Wow.
But
Honey,
the audiobooks. So
Mm-hmm.
how many books did you say?
she can read like 2 books a week.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
Yeah. So she's constantly has the earbud things in.
Mm-hmm.
And like I even bought her ones for the shower.
Wow.
Don't let being wet stop you. So
God.
but yeah, but like in the car and on her
Oh
commute,
yeah.
back and forth. And even on the weekends, like if I'm watching football, she's got them in, or if
Yep.
I'm watching a series or something, she'll be like, no, 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 don't stop it. Like I'll just listen to
Mm-hmm.
my phone.
Yep.
So yeah, weekend she probably like double time. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for me, I like to hold it. Like I want a book
Right.
in my hands.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah. And I'm so I did start doing audiobooks. I was
Uh-huh.
actually searching for podcasts on Audible,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would just put them on the TV while I was doing stuff around. And
Sure.
and then I was like, ooh, and I warbled it right into books. Like all of a
Yeah.
sudden, like there was Amy Schumer, Stanley Tucci,
Yeah.
like all these books, and I'm like, this is fantastic. So I'm
Yeah.
getting there. I'm just not as good as disciplined as she is about starting
We
them.
all have our different interests, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
starting and finishing is my like
I'm not a reader either. I like the idea of the Audible book. I'm gonna
yeah,
start.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean,
Oh
honestly,
yeah.
so many I wouldn't have picked up. Like I just wouldn't have picked. I would have walked right by it in a Barnes and Noble, you know.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
her Audible account is so big that I get just looking just like, oh yeah, yeah, let's try this one. But I'm more
Library.
um the autobiographies. Like I end up always on
Mhm.
because I
I
already
like.
I already have that connection, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did I yeah, fell down that rabbit hole for a little bit. And that's kind of do you have audio? Are you books on audio yet or
Oh,
no? Yeah.
my books. Not yet. I'm working on that. I built a home studio in a walk-in closet.
Nice.
Lined it with all these heavy blankets and everything like that. I call it my blanket fort. And I'm starting to record the first Jinx Baloo novel. So
Oh, brilliant. So you're doing them yourself.
I'm doing them myself. Yeah.
I was gonna say you don't just have somebody come in and be like, and here's my closet.
Yeah, really, exactly. No, I mean, I thought about hiring a professional narrator, and they're just so expensive, and my books are very niche, and so I'm like, would I be able to recoup the cost?
You
So
better. But yeah, if you're writing them, I just think you're the one that's going to.
I think so too. I mean, I I can do a little decent bit of acting to put some to have it fun to be
Yeah,
fun. So.
yeah. One of the things, this is so random. I was listening to John Stamos, his
Mhm.
biography, and I love that he did the voices. Like when he was
Right.
talking about hanging out with Sammy Davis Jr., he did the Sammy Davis Jr. When he was talking about General Hospital, he did the Gloria Monty voice. Like
Oh.
I was like so 100% in it. I was like, wow. But yeah,
It's a challenge, I've got a character, he's originally from Dublin, and I'm trying not to sound like a leprechaun.
that's difficult. Yeah.
Oh, so you have to do that too.
Oh,
The
that's
act.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
A little bit
So
of an Irish rogue. Yeah. Ooh.
I'll just, I think the more I do, the easier it'll get, the better I will get. So I'm just going to allow myself to not do it perfect and just do it as best as I can, and we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, isn't it funny like how you hear it in your head
Oh,
and then you
yeah.
speak it and you're like, wow, I sucked. You know what I mean? Like that sounded perfect in my head.
It's like, now I'm thinking, why did I give this character a Minnesota accent? I'm like, I can't do a Minnesota accent.
Oh God, yeah.
True.
That's funny. That's
How
so,
do
oh yeah. I never even thought about that, to be honest.
me
Wow. Yeah,
either.
you're setting
Uh,
yourself up for challenges.
I know, right?
how do you get them like when you have them recorded? will they go on Audible or are they on your
Yeah,
website?
they'll go on Audible, and I'll put them up on Findaway Voices as well, so that they'll be available wherever audiobooks are sold.
That's
Okay.
great. And you said you have a publisher.
Well, I had a publisher for my first two books, and they didn't want to continue the series after the first two books, so that's when I decided to go indie.
Yeah.
And so all the rest of my books, I've published about a dozen indie books, and I love it. It's a better fit because I felt that the traditional publishers were really doing a lot of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
When my agent was pitching the book to publishers, we were getting a lot of, "We like this, but we don't know how to market it." I'm like, "It's a crime thriller. What's the problem?"
Right?
Yeah. Let it speak for
And
itself. Yeah.
so, or we get, "Oh, we already published a trans book this year." I'm like, "Is quota?"
We've met our quota.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. So and now I even do my own covers because I've got the background in graphic design. So
Shut
I like
up.
that. Yeah.
I do my own covers, and I have fun with it. It's a lot of fun.
Oh my
That's what I
God.
do with my music. I do my own album covers and my albums. I don't
Yeah,
know if I do that anymore, but my own covers and my own artwork for that. And yeah, I mean, it's easier when you do it that way to control the whole process
exactly. Because
and keep
the
the costs down also.
yeah, exactly. The covers that my first publisher created were not very good.
That was
They
my experience as well.
they weren't appropriate to the genre, and they're two books in the same series, and they looked nothing alike. And I'm like,
Thank
okay,
you.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then I hired a professional cover designer, and they were great, absolutely great, great covers, amazing covers. They're also very expensive, especially if I was publishing in multiple formats or on multiple,
Mhm.
because like KDP's print covers were different from the Ingram Spark print covers, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so I just learned to do it myself, and I spent a lot of time on YouTube watching videos on Photoshop and everything, and I love it. I play around with it, and I give myself time, and I know what fits the genre. So, and people love my covers.
I
That is exactly what happened with me with
That's
my
Hmm.
album.
perfect. Yeah.
Very first one. It was so frustrating for me to work with the graphic artist to
Hmm.
try to my vision was knowing it's costing me so much an hour to do it.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't getting it. So then I just learned, I got the program. I did exactly what you did. And I learned that program and it took
Hmm.
me hours and hours and
Oh
whatever
yeah.
occasion. And I did a lot of fun stuff too, like just stupid posters and funny
Sure.
stuff. Fun just to get used to using the program because
Right.
that's how you do it.
I'm
Yeah.
just
Hmm.
gonna hire one of
Exactly.
you guys next.
I have an idea. I can help you with that, Denise,
I
when for
do.
you.
I do. That was the funniest thing. Like with my publisher, when we got to the point where we were started talking about covers,
Mhm.
and you're doing this back and forth in an email,
Right.
which is even harder, to
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is. It
get
is.
lost in translation. So then I thought, well, I'll attach a bunch of stock photos
Right.
to give
Hmm.
an idea. And they sent me back 3 images for me to pick from that were
Yeah.
theirs.
Yeah.
That was
Oh, that
it.
was
And I'm like,
theirs?
oh, end of discussion. No more.
Wow.
One of these three. I was like, what a fucking
Yeah.
waste. Yeah,
Yeah.
brutal. But you know what? You live and learn.
Yeah.
If
You do. You do.
you
Really do. And
send
that's
them
the
your own, would they allow that? Or it has to be what they want? Like if you made your own cover, would they let you use it? Yeah, you for
Oh,
your
for a
published
publisher?
Denise. Yeah.
Well,
no.
I know that with when I was with Random House, no, they just do their own covers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an
Mostly,
option.
most of them. That's kind of how it goes. And it's it is the single most important part of the book. You know what
Right?
I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I just can't believe that they can't give you an ounce of flexibility or say so. It's
Right.
amazing to me, but there it is. Why
There
more
it is.
people self-publish, like you just
Hmm.
it's all yours. The freedom is
Yeah.
yours. Yeah.
Right.
It's probably the best way to do it, you know. And I remember Claire saying, "I'll talk you through it," and I'm like, "Oh, for God's sake, I can't, you know, thank you, but I gotta turn it down because I know that I don't have the mental capacity. Once I've got it all down, it's like I'm
Mhm.
so fucking done. You know, like I can't,
Yeah.
don't tell me what the next steps are because I don't have any brain space anymore. So yeah, I don't know if I can do that. And I mean, my editor, like bless my editor's heart, honestly, because
Mhm.
they do. Do you have a separate editor or do you are
I've got a team. I've got a line editor, and then I've got a separate proofreader.
brilliant?
And yeah, they're my lifesaver because they catch stuff that I would never catch. I'm like, really? Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's like
Yeah, I was telling we had an author on last week too, and I was saying how my editor is British, and I
hmm.
realized that they're not big on contractions.
Oh
So
really? Huh.
a lot of my notes were like scratching out can't and don't, and it was can, do not, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like it's losing me in this. Like, I'm not a brilliant
Exactly. Yeah, you
writer.
got to be able to push back on it.
Yeah, and she was just like, oh, it's such a force of habit. Like I will get back, you know, like so yeah, we had to find our way, but you know, once we got there, it was just a blessing to have somebody doing that for you because
Hmm.
it's
Oh
like
yeah.
the nitpicky stuff, and you're looking at it for so long. You
Hmm.
like
Right.
first you bang it out, then you go back and you correct a couple of mistakes, then you have another idea that go, you know what, delete, 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 delete. And you know, it's like you've seen it over and over and over again, and
Hmm.
yeah, so it's so the fresh eyes are just a blessing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely. And you just ultimately I ask every time there's like a major um either a comment from my editor or a major correction, I just ask myself what tells the better story that I'm trying to tell. I don't care who came up with the idea. I just want to tell the best story I can possibly tell.
Brilliant.
And
Yeah.
and as long as it's true to my overall vision. So if I need to change something, I'm like, oh, okay. And one of the things I love about my line editors is that they'll catch plot holes. Like, on page 32, she was driving a Corvette, and on page 3, she was
Yeah.
driving a pickup truck. I'm like, oh, whoops.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It makes you incredibly aware of what a script supervisor does.
Oh yeah.
Like on a movie, you know, it's like that is
Yeah.
it's the same thing in just a different format. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You have to have a team that you 100% trust, but I also feel like, and I'm sure this is the same for you, you've got to be open to what they're saying.
Oh,
You know,
Right.
absolutely.
yeah, you have
Yeah.
to be. You can't be afraid of
Even,
constructive criticism.
right.
Yeah.
Even if I disagree with their suggested fix, I'll ask myself, well, this triggered an issue, so how can I fix it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right. Exactly. Like, how do I smooth this, make everybody happy, and not
exactly.
and not compromise myself? But you've got to be open to that. You can't be a
Yeah,
hardline no.
absolutely.
Can't be a hardline
No, don't be a diva.
yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. You really can't because they will call you out, you know, like that's
Yeah,
their job.
because if you don't
Yeah.
fix it, then the readers are going to say, "Oh, they're going to come up complain the same thing," and like, okay,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's yeah, that's the beauty of it. So it sounds like you got a brilliant team behind
oh, I
you.
do.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it is.
So
It's
much
amazing.
data.
So let's as we get towards the end, towards the finish line here, let's run down your socials and your
Okay,
site and where people can buy everything. It's like dun 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 self-promo time.
okay. So, are you,
Website.
okay, all right. Website is dharmakelleher.com. You can buy ebooks there. You can, if you're in the US, you can buy signed paperbacks and hardcovers there. All of my books are there. Um, and my books are also available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Apple, Google Play, just wherever books are sold.
Excellent.
They're in a lot of libraries. If your library doesn't carry it, ask your librarian. They'll be able to order it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I love libraries.
And are you like a shameless self-promoter? Like you have like you're getting there?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Yeah.
Let your fans do the work.
Exactly. I try to. Yeah. You got to push them a little bit sometimes. And I'm on Facebook, I'm on Threads, I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok a little bit. Just trying to figure out my way
Yeah,
on there.
tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I a lot of these like videos like how did they create this? And I'm like
And it's the piecing them together and the editing and making you
I know.
right
I'm
on
like
time and yeah. Mm.
exactly. I'm like, wow, all that in 30 seconds. Oh my goodness, how am I gonna
It's so much information coming at you. It really
It
is. It's
is.
completely
It's a little
overwhelming.
overwhelming.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And that's what I tell JD all the time. Like Threads is definitely my speed. Like
hmm
after getting rid of my normal account
yeah.
on Twitter, it was just
Oh,
wasn't that like just navigating, like just it was brutal, honestly.
yeah,
I compare it to falling over a cliff and hitting every jagged rock on the way down.
exactly.
Threads is
Love
like
that.
Threads is like a leaf falling onto a big
hmm
fluffy duvet. Everybody's welcoming and warm and supportive right now. And
Right.
Balloons from the
no,
other.
there's no ads and no promos right now, which is
Yeah.
Oh,
a delight.
oh, holy.
Yeah, so
Oh,
you're only seeing like the people that you follow.
Right.
It's just, it makes it, I can waste so much time because I don't follow that many people. So once I kind of like, oh, saw that already, like I'm done.
Yeah.
So it's just yeah, it feels like a better use of time. But I'm
hmm
really like super, super thrilled that people are actually reaching out now. Like I've put it out there a million times.
Yeah.
We want to do this show to put a spotlight back on the people of our community, our big
Right.
crazy community, the creatives that are doing something that especially something positive, like
right.
Exactly.
yeah. So we want to, give you that push, give you a promo. And I mean, seriously, it's not like we have like a bazillion followers, but I just think that the fact that we are consistent, we're out there all the time, we're on YouTube,
That's
Yeah.
what makes a difference.
whatever audio feed, we're on that, but
hmm
also on the socials. And
hmm
the fact that we also get played, and I don't say this enough, we get played in South
Right.
Africa.
That's
Right?
Wow.
awesome.
We are
That's
on yeah, gay South Africa station, and they're so that reminds me, Jay, we have to make an intro for them.
oh,
Yeah, they're so like consistently good to us. Like
yeah.
hmm
they're down with what we're throwing out. I love it. So so we're super happy to be on that, but it's also getting the word out about the things that are happening in the UK, the things that are happening in the States that are
hmm
all reflective of our big global community.
Right.
Yeah.
hmm
So that's why we welcome all, any guest that wants to do it. We're happy to have them.
That's great.
So thank you for answering the call.
And we have
Thank you.
listeners too. We have loyal listeners, the ones that, like she said, we don't have a ton of listeners, but they're there all the
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
especially
hmm
South Africa's. One time, I think we missed Denise, right? One week you were sick.
I was like so scared. What happened? Where's your
Us.
Oh my God. Yeah, he was like on our tail. So yeah, it's yeah, they're really good about making sure we're up there. Tuesdays at 1 on Gay SA radio. So yeah, it's nice that we're growing along with the people that we have on that are
hmm
promoting, things and it's like everybody helping everybody and it's
Yeah,
amazing.
exactly. Community.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect. So I listen, I'm so thrilled and I will now that I know there's going to be audiobooks coming.
Yeah.
I, I will yeah, I will keep an eye out for those. But yeah, it's been lovely to meet
Well,
you.
thank you both for having me. It's been wonderful.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We'll let you get back to work. So you've got your gazillionth other books coming out now. So
I know.
go do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Why do you always run back to?
It's like never stop chasing your dreams.
We drank way too much whiskey.
That's true.
That's see? See?
My addiction is you. Don't ask me why I'm here tonight. I had to take this midnight drive to find you.